Hello guys, what's going on? This is Negacious, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. In the last episode, we returned from the Sato summer house into the... Well, I guess we started going back to school after the holidays, and Misha was panicking about the exams, just as Hanako was. And Lily invited us to a homecoming party with Akira and Lily. Akira herself and Hanako. So we went there and kind of just hang out, and our love story is basically now fully known by the common public, so to say. And like as I said towards the end of the last episode, this route has been it has been cliche, but it's been a glorious goddamn cliche. Like, holy hell. And we ended off the episode with us standing in the corridor that leads to the nurse's office. We haven't seen him in ages, so let's get going. I stand unmoving in front of the door to the nurse's office for what feels like at least a dozen minutes or so. It's not like I never entered the small, beige room before, nor is it because of any feeling of childlike anxiety over the visit. Maybe it's because the nurse's office is akin to a confessional, an admission that my body is flawed. The knowledge that such a fact is kept entirely confidential between the nurse and me hardly lessens the feeling. Remembering that the bell to signal the end of the lunch break will sound soon, I give a sigh and open the door. The burden will stay with me just this while longer. There he is! My purple-haired pal! Well now, if it isn't Nakai, good to see ya. Not bad, I guess, considering that I'm a nurse. Your dry sense of humor. He gives a small laugh, amused at his little joke. I find his humor lacking and somewhat off, but the fact that he can make light of such a situation is perhaps comforting, or at least distracting. His brief episode of entertainment is over, he claps his hands together and gets down to business. I take a seat as he gestures for me to do so. I wish the classroom had seats this comfortable. I can feel my mind wandering as my eyes quickly scan the room, distracted by all the small changes since I last came. Alrighty, so what brings you here? I haven't seen you often, so I assume your health's been good so far. Well, mostly. I see. His smile drops as I trail off. I feel slightly guilty about it. It's these moments where I can't rationally call myself normal that make me so reluctant to see the nurse. They're an admission that I'm different from everybody else. While I was on a trip during the long weekend, I had a few problems with my heart. He hums very seriously and nods as he does so, urging me to go on. I think it was... It was after I was walking a fairly long distance. I think the right term for it is a heart flutter. I suddenly went weak at the knees and felt almost like I was having a small heart attack, but it passed in about half a minute. Even afterward, though, I felt pretty fatigued and nauseous. Not good at all. That was how many days ago exactly? Did you do anything unusual, aside from exerting yourself before the episode? Were you taking your medication properly? Yeah, about that. The nurse switches from awkward jokester to serious health professional mode, rattling off questions, making notes, and calling up stuff on his computer. I tell him about forgetting to take my pills that morning, and the preceding evening. It was a stupid thing to do, but I can't change anything about it now, except answer honestly and bite the bullet. His seriousness evolves into a frown, and the talk evolves into an instant checkup. I finished buttoning up my shirt, and I finish buttoning up my shirt and again get motion to take a seat in front of the nurse. Is this the first heart problem you've had since coming to Yamaku? I've had short pains in my chest before, just a couple of times, but they were more discomfort than anything like this. He leans back in his chair, briefly resembling a white-coated Poirot as he mulls over the mysterious case of the heart flutter. Moving his lips from side to side to show his thinking, his non-existent mustache wiggling, he eventually comes to a conclusion. Well, you survived it. That's always on the plus side. Yeah, I don't care what caused it, just you survived. Professionalism. What the fuck? I blink at this one, then notice the nurse is wearing his "got you" face. It's actually somewhat reassuring. I don't think he would crack jokes if things were really serious, so I keep silent and take my lumps. I'll have a talk with your doctor, but right now I suspect it's simply due to physical exertion. Have you been keeping up with regular light exercise like I directed you to? I make sure to walk a reasonable amount every day. It's usually enough to work up a bit of sweat, but then again, I'm not really as fit as I used to be. That should be enough then. The main thing to keep in mind is to do regular low-stress exercise, not short bursts of sprinting and such. I understand. Since leaving the hospital, I've been a lot more focused on my studies, partly to take off my mind not being able to do more physical things. It's good to hear you're coping well. Some lifestyle changes can be hard at the best of times, so I'm pleased to hear that you sound like you have everything in order. Almost everything, that is. Nevertheless, I want to keep a close eye on you for a while, just for observation's sake. Just to make sure things aren't going downhill, you understand. That's something I really didn't want to hear. Since coming to Yamaku, all I've wanted to do is to live as normal a life as possible. Observation was one of the words I came to hate most during my hospital stay. For so long I felt I could have just walked straight out the hospital doors, if not for that observation the doctors wanted so dearly. Sure, should I come in more often? He checks the calendar next to his computer, which seems to inflict on him a nasty case of a furrowed brow. He spins back towards me after that. The summer holidays are a bit of a pain, considering the timing. I'll check with your doctor to try and get a better handle on the situation and see how he wants to proceed, but I think you should just take things slowly and carefully for now. What you're describing doesn't immediately sound like a recurring event, but it won't hurt to slow down a bit for a while, just to make sure. What should I do for today? He looks over my shoulder at the clock hanging over the door. I'd never have noticed it if I hadn't followed his gaze. It's nearly time for the school to be over, so you may as well just leave early. He gives me a sly wink, making sure I understand he's doing me a favor. Well, nurse's orders. Thanks. That's what I'm here for, after all. I know you might not want to hear this, but you can't ignore your condition. Don't hesitate to see me if you have any further problems, or if you just have anything you want to ask. Bye. He spins around and gets back to typing at the computer in front of him. I suppose I'll just read before waiting for Lily by the gate, considering I don't have much else to do. Even as I leave, his words echo in my mind. My condition isn't something as limiting as many of the others here in Yamaku, and I don't want to burden Lily with thinking about it. If I just live life normally and avoid any short, sharp knocks, I should be okay. I won't let my condition rule me. Atta boy, Hisao. Lily comes into view soon after the bells heralding the end of the school day ring out. She says farewell to a number of her classmates headed in the other direction before beginning her weekly trip to the convenience store. afternoon, Lily. The immediate warm smile and relaxed demeanor she assumes upon noticing my presence are unexpectedly welcome. Hello, Hisao. Good afternoon to you too. She hesitates for a second, but eventually deigns to tilt her face forward and close her eyes. My lips meet hers with a measure of slight trepidation before we move off, hand in hand. The fact that we're so close in height is somewhat useful at times, there being no need for either of us to turn our head upwards or downwards in order to meet the others. Well, I mean, Japanese average height is kinda short, and if Lily took after her Scottish side, then she must be a freaking giant in Japan, or like way taller than normal. It doesn't take much time to leave the noise of the other students far behind us. The tapping of Lily's cane in her free hand, the only sound to be heard. Silence, blissful silence, is all that greets us while we slowly walk in the setting sun's light. I think I'm coming to really like this town. The huge, green, hilly expanse, the trees everywhere, the somewhat rustic little buildings. So you've come to appreciate the tranquility of it as well? I think so. I came from a metropolitan city near Tokyo, so the quiet of this town really alienated me when I first arrived. After a while it became really nice though. I think I prefer it to the hustle and bustle of my home city now. While I preferred the quiet of such a rural town even after I first arrived, I suppose I had the advantage of growing up in a quiet area before I came. Hanako said the surroundings are very pretty too. Lily may say such a thing quite easily, but each time she mentions how others describe sights around her as beautiful or pretty, I feel a little put off. I notice her expression becoming one of anticipation for some question or another. She always had a good sense for when somebody's not saying something that's on her mind, so I may as well speak up. I was kinda wondering, how to put this. Do you ever regret that you can't see what things look like for yourself? It's just something I've been thinking about. She thinks carefully for a time. Do you ever regret that you can't hear people whispering on the other side of the room? I can only speak for myself, but the fact that I cannot see is the only way I've experienced life. Just as I cannot do something you can do something that I'm capable of. That's actually true, and also, I mean, I wonder how would it affect the people's, like, one's psyche if, or like the viewpoint, if, let's say, you have perfectly functional eyes, like, during birth, but then you lose, like, the ability to see. You simply go blind, like at the age of, I don't know, 6 or like 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that. Like, how would that affect your psyche compared to someone who hasn't been able to see since birth? I mean, for me it's a scary thing to think about that I wouldn't be able to see. But I'm curious about that. I'm intrigued by the psychology behind it. Of course, not to offend anyone who but I mean, if you do know anything like regarding this, like, or you have any opinions, I'd be interested in knowing, like, the difference between the two scenarios. The fact that the world is made for those who are sighted can be a pain sometimes, but there are many, many people who suffer much more than I because of the way the world is. That does make sense, but still, it just feels kind of bad to describe something that you can't experience to you. She tilts her head quizzically. as if I just said something that makes very little sense at all. But I can experience it. You just said for yourself that you like this area because of the way the surroundings are. I like this area for the very same reason. Thanks to the fact that this is a small rustic town surrounded by trees, it gives some peace and quiet away from the din at school and the bustle, not to mention the smells of the city. I suppose it would also be much like the home she shared with Akira as well. Her outlook on it seems pretty sensible, so I'm not surprised that she's got much of a better handle on her particular condition than I do on mine. Just like how her coming from a location somewhat similar to Yamaku's surroundings let her become more acclimatized. Jesus. More acclimatized in a shorter time, being born blind affected her stance by her own admission. I should stop being so annoyed with myself over it, but I can't shake the feeling that I've depended on Lily far too much, given the circumstances most have had to deal with in Yamaku. Katawa Shoujo is using some friggin' advanced language today. Or then I'm just like, I can't read again. That makes a lot of sense. You're pretty good at explaining as always. Come to think of it, where is Hanako anyway? She was with us for lunch. It seems she's busy studying. The exams are far from over, and she said she wants to do better this year than the last. While I admire her work ethic, she's been really trying to give us a lot of room alone recently. She's that type of person, I think. The kind that puts others' needs above her own at every chance. She is a sweet girl, even though so much has hurt her in the past. I don't know. I feel it's only now, when she's less close to me than ever, that she's truly finding herself. It was thanks to you that she began to become more confident after all, not me. I take my hand from hers and gently place it on her head. The important thing is that you were there for her. I can't even imagine what she'd be like without having found someone like you. That much became obvious when you were in Scotland. We're all still friends, so we've just got to have faith in her. I think she'll become a good person, and that much is thanks to you being there for her when she most needed it, just as you were there for me. It makes me feel a bit childish when you sound so wise. Well, I try. Are you doing anything on the weekend by any chance? Nothing that comes to mind. Why? Then, how about a date on Sunday? It'd be something to do besides exam preparation. Oh, Hisao taking the initiative. Countering my rapidly beating heart, she simply smiles and nods. That would be lovely. Where would you like to go? Come on. Her face suddenly changes to one of disapproval. You cannot do that, Hisao. That's cheating. Do what? A gentleman should never ask a lady where to have a date. Okay. Oh. Her smile quickly comes back, assuring me that she's far from serious. Don't worry about it. I'll think about where we could go. I'll leave it to you then. I promise to decide on the next date, though. With our plans for the weekend made, the rest of us walk down the hill continues in silence. The prospect of that lasting for any length of time, however, is shattered as I catch a sight of a familiar figure waiting for us, her hand held high. Oh, it's Akira. What is she doing here? Yeah. Thank you. Please come again. The change in temperature as I step outside from the convenience store sends a chill up my spine. It feels like summer is starting to wind down. Looking to my side, the same feeling seems to affect Lily as well, though, unlike me, she doesn't manage to hide the fact. Something I didn't realize at first was how physically delicate she is, even compared to the likes of Hanako. If I had to describe her, I'd have to say she reminds me of a China doll. God damn it, Akira. Akira walks up behind her and gives a couple of hard pats on her shoulder, much to Lily's consternation. For a moment she looks as envious of my status as an only child as I am of their close relationship. They talk between themselves for a few moments as I sort out my bags, their voices too low for me to catch, but eventually they break up and we begin to walk back to school. It feels good to be out of that damned office. You kids don't know how good you have it here. Kids? You do then. Kids grow up so fast nowadays. You're not old enough to say that. I don't know. Being around Hideaki makes me feel damned old. He's so precocious. He reminds me of you when you were younger. He's a nice boy. It would be a shame if Shizune comes to have too much of an influence on him. Akira gives an amused snort at her sister's antipathy. She really doesn't seem to regard it as anything to make a serious fuss about, treating it more like a childhood spat. She looks over to me, apparently only just remembering that I'm here, and gives a small grin as she reaches towards her back pocket. What is it? Just a sec, let me dig it out. After quite some difficulty, she manages to retrieve her black leather wallet from her back pocket, quickly fishing out what looks to be a folded square of paper. With Lily all but unaware what's happening, Akira unfolds the scrap and hands it to me. Dude! Whoa! Look at Shizune just like... Shizune being on competitive mode. Wait. Who's that girl on the back? Is that... Who is that? I don't know. Whoa! I mean, that looks... Damn. The only time when they actually got together, when they were together in the student council, I'd guess. Because I remember they mentioned that they did run one festival together, after which Lily quit, I think. I'm guessing this photo is from that time. An old photo of what looks to be a younger Lily and Shizune operating a noodle stall, with some other girl in the background. She looks vaguely familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint why. But look at this! That looks awesome! What is it, Akira? I think you know. Lily mulls this over for a few moments before realization dawns on her. Akira, you really needn't... It's fine, isn't it? Besides, it's like the only photo I have of you two since you entered Yamaku while you're not at each other's throats. Aww. I look back down to the photo in my hand. It does seem strange to see Lily and Shizune working together so diligently without any sign of animosity. If the photos of them during Yamaku Festival, that means it must have been taken 1 or 2 years ago. In other words, the time when they both were in the student council together. Who's the girl in the back? She looks kind of familiar. Wait, is that... No way. It's her. Oh my god, dude. What the fuck? Huh? I knew you wouldn't recognize her. It's Misha before she went and dyed her hair pink. Wait. In Shizune's route, when we had the talk with Misha on the roof, and there was the CG with Misha and Shizune in the student council room, like in the evening when Misha confessed to Shizune. She had blonde hair back then, didn't she? So did she have originally blonde hair, then she colored it black, and no. She must have had originally like black hair. That's like her original hair. It has to be, right? And then she bleached it blonde and kept the same because it's like down to her like way or hips actually. And after that, she must have cut it after Shizune rejected her confession. She must have cut it and dyed it pink. Damn. That's Misha? No way. It feels extremely strange to see Misha without her so very distinctive hairstyle. Yeah, tell me about it. I couldn't fucking recognize her. Judging from Akira's tone, she doesn't take favorably to Misha's idea of fashion. I suppose that fact just accentuates how odd accentuates just how odd the situation looks. To think they were so friendly in the past, I wish I could do something to mend their relationship. You're being very quiet, Hisao. It just feels kinda strange to see you all so friendly like this. Lily moves to say something, but stops herself. In the end, this isn't a matter for me. It's between Shizune and Lily, and nobody else. Things change, unfortunately. I hand the photo back to Akira, who sighs as she folds it up and slides it back into her wallet. A little memory quietly hidden away, to be pulled out again sometime later. Yeah, that they do. Initially, I think Akira's reaction is simply in response to the situation between Lily and Shizune, but she looks oddly glum compared to what I'd expect. Lily's expression has clouded as well. What's wrong? It's just that I'll be going back to Scotland fairly soon. You're leaving for Scotland again. Again, they go completely like quiet and really like gloomy when we mention Scotland. What the hell is going on with this? I need to know. For a long moment, Akira looks surprised. It's an ill-fitting expression for her. After a glance at Lily, she turns back to me as if she'd never done so. Yeah, in a couple of weeks I'll be leaving for Inverness to work at the company's headquarters. It's a pretty big jump in corporate position, and it's not a chance that's going to come again. So Akira got offered a promotion. So Akira's going to leave Japan on what seems to be a permanent basis. I can't help feeling that my assumption that we could all happily while away our days, having fun in this isolated little world, is coming to an end. It's unsettling. I look at Lily, mildly surprised that she hasn't told me such a thing despite usually being so forthcoming. She continues to walk with her face fixedly pointed ahead. I can't read her expression, nor can I even guess what's on her mind, which is discomforting given how it's usually easy for me to do both. It reminds me of the time when we met at the Shanghai, just before what could be called our first date. At the time, all I could do was comfort her without knowing the cause, and now it feels no different. Something is up, like like Akira leaving is going to trigger something. 100%. Like, because as I said like 2 episodes ago, the drama of this route is not done. And I'm betting that it has something to do with this freaking Scotland trip. And Scotland, and like it has to be connected somehow. But I don't like the way they're keeping us in the dark here. As we finally reach the school dormitories once again, there's somewhat awkward silence. I don't think I'm the only one who feels it. See you tomorrow then, Lily. Bye, Akira. Good night, Hisao. See ya. And with that, they walk to the female dormitories. Opening the door to the male dormitories, I stop and look back at them just moments before their figures disappear behind the heavy wooden door. This was a strange moment when Akira said she was leaving. While that wasn't the first time when my thoughts regarding my new life had been called into question, it's perhaps the first time to do it quite so profoundly. I still don't know what to make of Akira's reaction, much less of Lily's. The night's chill reminds me to get back to my room before I catch something, my bags pulling down on my arms with seemingly redoubled weight. If nothing else, I have a date with her set up for the weekend. I just need to stop overthinking stuff and get on with things as they are. The exams are still ongoing after all, and with the trimester's end and the summer holidays beginning soon, there will be plenty to keep me busy for a while. As I give a yawn and retreat inside, my thoughts turn to what Lily will decide to set as the location of our weekend rendezvous. I'm actually curious as well. Because if it's Lily, like knowing her, it's going to be something absolutely brilliant. Okay. What did I just fucking say 2 seconds ago? Dude. Fuck yes. My favorite goddamn song that I haven't heard in ages. I think the last time we heard this song was on Hanako's route in the freaking jazz bar when we were playing billiards. I think that's the last time we heard this song. Freaking Red Velvet, dude. Oh my god. Okay, guys. I would love to continue, but I have a feeling that this segment might actually go on for a while. It's a date after all. So I'm going to cut this episode here. Just listen to this music, dude. So good. So fucking good. There's also a live version that's different from this track. It's found if you write into YouTube Red Velvet live version. It's really good. It's from the earlier version of Katawa Shoujo, and it's really, really, really good. I suggest that you listen to it. It's freaking brilliant, dude. Anyways, we're going to leave this episode here of Katawa Shoujo here. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment down below whether it's some casual banter or constructive criticism. I'll read it all and respond to it all. You may also show your like or dislike towards the video by using the buttons below the video. You can also subscribe and click the bell button next to the subscribe button to make sure to get my videos into your subbox the moment they come online. Next time we'll be starting our date with Lily, and we get to listen to freaking Red Velvet, dude. I couldn't hope for a better episode. My name is Negacious, and I'll see you in the next episode.